Welcome back to Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I'm your host, Jerry Hansen. This is part 3 in a series of videos on replacing the head gaskets on a 1996 3.8 liter fuel-injected V6 engine. This engine is installed in my 1996 Ford Thunderbird. I blew a head gasket, and so in the previous episodes, part 1, we showed you on disconnecting all the other parts before you get to the manifold. Part 2, we disconnected and removed or laid aside the manifold, and in this part we're going to disconnect and lay aside the fuel rails. So let's get started. This is the fuel rail assembly. You have 4 bolts here, 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 and here you need to disconnect. Plus you need to disconnect a hose over here, and you need to disconnect a bolt clamp back here and a bolt clamp up here on the water pump. So let's get those disconnected. This module is connected to the distributor base, so I just want to loosen this screw and just release this module instead of unplugging it. Okay, we'll just lay that aside and put that screw back in there so we have a place to keep it, and I know where it goes. We unplug this plug right here. We use an 8mm socket to take these bolts off. And I'll set it up here, and we'll take the other one out. And we'll set it up there with the other one. There's 2 more on this side of the engine. And right there. Okay, and we just take that bolt and we'll set it right here, and get the other bolt and we'll set it right there. This diaphragm is attached to a bracket, and on the bracket on the side of the engine right here is another. It's an 8-meter bolt. You got to take that off. And we'll set it up here by the wiper blade. Okay, that half is loose. And we've got another plug, this one to take off. And it's off. And there's a 13mm bolt right there. And get the screwdriver and point at it. It's right there. We got to take that off. There's the nut. I'll put it right up here by the windshield wiper. Okay. You can see I just disconnected that line. And then there's another line coming down here. And I think this just finagles out and lays forward. This bolt has to come off, which releases this hose here. And so we'll go ahead and release that. Okay, I got my screw, my bolt, And that is going to go right up here next to that nut. We're going to take this hose clamp off. Just this little bit more. Okay, and we squeeze it and move it back and pull it out. And then this should release. Okay. Let me take that hose off and out of the way. And then go set that aside. Underneath the alternator, there's this has to come and plug too in order to free the fuel rack. I'm just going to use my far away reachy thingy and reach down there and plug that thing right off. And it's off. And that's the end of that thingy that just plugged right into the end of that. Alright, what else we got to unplug here? Take this off. This goes to the valve gasket, no, the valve cover right next to the oil filler point. And I'm just going to set that on the roof of the car. There is another plug that you have to unplug, and it's, oh, let's grab it. It's right there. Can you see that? Hang on a sec. That plug right there. Okay, I took the bracket off of that bolted to the back of this, which this bolts to also, and this wiring harness bolts to. So I've got to figure out how to unhook that wiring harness. I take this clip off. Right. And okay, it took a lot of finagling, but we're going to just lay this out of the way. If it'll lay out of the way. Alright. Now we have completely exposed the intake manifold, and our next project is to remove the manifold. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 bolts. 11, 12, looks like 12 because we got these also. Oh my goodness. Alright, that'll be another video. This completes part of replacing the gasket on a 1996 3.8 liter fuel injected V6 engine. That's a mouthful. I'm going to go wash up and find something else to do for a while. I've got to go study on the next part of the book to see what all I need to do to the next portion of this teardown. So subscribe, that way you get in touch with the next video as I produce them and upload them. I'm Jerry Hansen, your host here at Pine Meadows Hobby Farm. I want to thank you for coming.